Howdy, hotshots. Dividend Daddy here, your favorite not a financial advisor with not financial advice. Okay, somebody in the comments was telling me about some bad earnings reports that came out this afternoon. How is that going to affect Ulti's price? Are we going to see a big crash in Ulti's price tomorrow morning? Well, of course, I don't know, but let's form a hypothesis here. I've got my nice little flowery notepad here with some notes for you. I took a look at what Ulti's holdings were. Let's see how it impacts it. Okay, so we've got all the little figures here. Let's figure some here. We've got, I don't know, I didn't count them up. 25 different holdings here. We've got AAOI, which after market is down 0.25%-ish. APP, which I think is AppLovin, it is up $5.59 for 1.4% after closing. In after hours trading, ASTS is down 0.32%. BMNR down 3%. Bull, which is Webull, I believe, is up 0.81%. Oh, down 0.81%. Coin, that I think is Coinbase, is up 0.42%. GLXY down 1.19%. Robinhood down 0.61%. IonQ up 3.52%. Mara up 0.06%. MicroStrategy up 0.41%. Nubis or Nebius, whatever it is down 0.82%. Oklo flat. Palantir down 0.8%. Qualcomm down 0.07%. Reddit down 1.45%. Rigetti down 0.67%. And here's a big one, guys. Supermicro Computers down 16.33% in after hours trading. SMR up 0.27%. Snap, that's another one, Snapchat, down 14.59%. Tempest down 0.61%. Upstart down 3.38%. But this is one of the hedges that Ulti obviously has. It looked to me, and you could go through there and tell me if I'm wrong, looked to me like they were long the UVIX, the double bull VIX fund. So when there's volatility, they should make a little bit of money from that. VRT down 0.77% and Vistra down 0.34%. Okay, so Supermicro Computer down 16.33% and Snapchat down 14.59% seems on the surface like that would be very detrimental to Ulti. And I really would be surprised if we didn't have a little bit of a dip in Ulti tomorrow morning, especially if these stocks keep going down. They are holdings in the fund. So when the holdings suffer, the fund price, will suffer. That's if the other holdings they have don't make up for it. But I have a couple things to note here so that it doesn't put you in panic mode, unless you want to be in panic mode and then panic away. But Supermicro Computers is 3.57% of Ulti's holdings. That's the weighted holdings there. So down 16.3%. Round numbers, I'm not going to pull out a calculator, but let's call it 4% of the holdings and 15% down, just for round numbers there. So that would be down 15% of 4%. So about 0.6%. Okay, so maybe 0.6%. 0.6% on $6.11 is going to be around 4 cents, maybe. So that might hurt us to the tune of 4 cents. And then Snapchat is 2.87% and 14.59%. Let's round both of those up to 3% and 15%. And that gives you 3% of 15% would be 0.45%. So less than 0.5%, so probably another 3 cents. So those two things together on the surface would seem like you were going to be losing about 7 cents in Ulti valuation tomorrow. That's outside of any more market fluctuations. This is just as of making the video. And as you could tell by my shady math, those are just wags. A wag. For those of you that don't know a wag, that's a wild ass guess. All right. But I have a couple other things here to note when it comes to those prices, is that they are short calls on both of those stocks. All right. all of the stocks. They're short calls on all the stocks because it's a covered call fund. Those should reduce in value. When the stocks go down, those covered calls should reduce in value. And so their short positions will not be worth as much. And that will add to the value of Ulti, because as their short positions go down in value, then they are recapturing that as a gain. So that's going to offset it some. Their VIX holding, that 2x VIX holding, that should help them a little bit, right? We already saw that it was up 1.57%. I did not look at the weighting of that, so I'm not 100% sure how much it's going to offset it. I also saw on their holdings sheet, and I'm not an accountant, but it looks to me that they are long the $52 puts for super micro computers. So I didn't do the math to see how much of a hedge that is compared to the position weighting of super micro computers. But super micro computers right now is trading at $47.91, and they are long the $52 puts in my estimation. And so really those have increased in value too, which is going to hedge a little bit. And then Snapchat was trading at $8.02. It looked to me like they were long the $8 puts. So those should increase in value too. So it's not exactly clear how much of an impact those two earnings reports are going to have on Ulti. I still think that it will be a negative impact because they own the shares. But with the UVIX offset and the short calls going down in value and the long puts going up in value, it will be interesting to see how much of an impact that has. Now, those stocks that are already down after hours obviously could go down in pre-market, and they could also go down when the market opens, and they could take everything down with them. Everything just could come to a grinding halt. I really don't know. But I wanted to get on here and bring to your attention that those were a couple stocks that were down quite heavily in aftermarket trading due to their, I didn't go looking at their earnings because I don't care that much about what their earnings were. I don't hold those stocks individually. So it's not that big of an impact to me overall. So I didn't really go listen to their earnings reports or anything like that. But I'm assuming those are the bad earnings that gentleman was talking about. And he's right. The bad earnings are going to drive those stocks down. It's going to drive down funds that have them as holdings. But there's a couple caveats in there, in that I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have. You can decide how much of an impact you think it's going to have. When he said that, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go look and see how much all these stocks are down, because Ulti was still at about $6.11. The last reported NAV that I saw for it was $6.10. So it's trading very close to its NAV. So I know some people were also asking, does Ulti drip at NAV? No, not for me. It was dripping at market, but the NAV and the market price are very close together. As far as I've been able to see, it's not like a CRF where there's a 20% discount at NAV, so I'm dripping at NAV when I utilize CRF. But so it is trading very close to its NAV. So when its NAV goes down, the stock Ulti, the fund, is going to go down. How much of an impact super microcomputers and Snapchat are going to have on that tomorrow will be interesting to see, because they have those positions hedged in some ways, it appears. I don't think it's going to be as much of an impact as it might seem on the surface. Overall, there was only a couple of them in there that were that bad. IonQ up 3.52% is going to help a little bit, but most everything was down aftermarket that is in their funds. But some of them had big runs during the day, and so they were just giving up a little bit of ground, which is to be expected. I see that a lot in aftermarket trading, after hours trading, is that they'll come back down a little bit in after hours if they've had big runs on the day. But then also, if earnings reports come out post-market, then after hours, the people can beat the other people to sell it that only trade during market hours. But what I've also seen sometimes is that the people in after hours or pre-market hours trading will overestimate the severity of a report. So they'll see, oh, there's bad earnings. I better dump this before the market opens. But really, when the market opens, it starts climbing its way back out. So I'm not scared. I'm not selling. I'm still dripping my divvies, still going to pile me up some cheap Pall Malls and cheap vodka and just have me a grand old time in retirement. And I'm hoping Ulti's around to help me do that. See you guys later.